Good afternoon again. So we are starting with lesson 5, and you know that lesson 5 deals with the internationalization of the firm. Okay, so in this lesson 5, our agenda has got 4 parts. The first part is about the concept of the multinational firm. The second part is about some concepts of global competence, which are the features and the strategies we are going to follow. Then the third part is about the strategies of penetration in foreign markets, and the final part is about the management of the multinational firm. So in this first video, I am going to deal with the first one, the multinational firm. Okay. Well, the first thing I must tell you is that you can see that this picture, the picture was taken in Paris the 1st of February of this year. It seems like it was taken in another world. Well, we are living in a different reality right now. But if you have a look at the street, you can see a Massimo Dutti. Close to it was a Gerald Darrell, and well, all the shops, in fact, if you have a look at them, are the same shops that you can find here in Madrid at Gran Via or at any other place. Okay, so it cannot be denied that if you are left in the middle of one of the main streets of one of the main cities in the world, okay, it doesn't matter, you will find more or less the same commerces. Some of them are going to be, this McDonald's, this Burger King, this Starbucks, or the shops I have told you, and so on. So the world has clearly gone global. It cannot be denied. So it's about explaining it, not about being pro or about being con, okay? Why is the word global? Well, there are many reasons why. First of all, we must consider that we don't live in a country which is isolated, but we live in different free trade regions. These free trade regions have got no borders for the circulations of goods and services between the countries which are members. For instance, we live in the European Union, and if you want to sell something from France to Spain inside the European Union, you have to pay no tariffs. You can also easily establish new offices of your firm from one country to another. This also happened in the North of America with NAFTA, North American Free Trade Association, which joins altogether the United States, Mexico, and Canada. So, first of all, our country is not our country. It's not isolated. It belongs to something bigger. On the other hand, the World Trade Organization in the recent years have removed in the different rounds, has removed, in fact, barriers to commerce. So year after year, day after day, new agreements are reached in order to eliminate these possible barriers. For instance, there has been a recent agreement between the European Union and Mercosur for the movement of goods from Mercosur and the European Union to the other place, eliminating some tariffs and some regulations, okay? Also, well, we have more freedom right now than we all ever had in the majority of countries. The movement of people is easier, and clearly the movement of capitals is easier. If you try to invest your money at the New York Stock Exchange, it's going to be moderately easy using one of the brokers that put this possibility in your hand. Probably if you go to your bank, you want to invest your money, maybe you are going to be offered to invest your money in Italian debt or Russian debt or even Thai debt. It's easy. Another clear characteristic is the expansion of is that I don't really know where you are seeing this video from. So in fact, you can be here close to me in Spain, but you can be anywhere else where I am explaining this to you. So new ITs are helping us to cross borders and are helping firms to cross borders. Finally, the behaviors of many people in many different countries are starting to be homogeneous. Why? What do you mean by this? What do I mean by this? What I mean is that if I have a look at my students in my class in front of me, if I am not told, I can easily know where they come from. I cannot easily know if they are Dutch or they are Australian or they are German. Why? Well, all of them are 20-year-old people. And 20-year-old people are similar in the majority of countries in the world. They have homogeneous needs, homogeneous behaviors. All of them, or the majority of them, use Instagram. The majority of them wear jeans or something similar, and so on. So in fact, people with the same characteristics in different countries have got nearly the same needs. So in fact, this is translated to the markets. Okay, what else can I tell you? Well, what's a multinational firm? A multinational firm is a company or a group which, first of all, operates in more than one country. I say normally in many countries, but once it is in more than one, I mean, if we are talking about two countries, we can call the firm to be multinational. Then, additionally, operates under a global perspective of value creation. What do I mean by this? What I mean by this is that this firm is not trying to maximize the value in each country, but it's trying to maximize the value globally. I mean, to generate more value to the shareholders, not in Spain, also in Germany, also in Italy, also in France, but all together, as a whole. This will mean that some parts of the production and of the sales and of the different processes of the firm are going to be moved from some countries to another ones, okay, in order to reduce the costs probably, or in order to increase the profitability of the firm, so that the firm can create more value based on this divide in the process, okay? So the firm operates under a global perspective of value creation. It doesn't try to maximize in Spain, in Italy, and Russia, okay? What else am I going to tell you? Well, we have said that the word's global, and we have characterized what's a multinational company. But operating in more than one country and with a global perspective of value creation puts together many different companies. Mercadona operates in Spain and Portugal, and we can call it a multinational company. But there are companies which operate in more countries and so on. Well, in fact, I am going to say that multinationality is a matter of degree. It's not about being or not a multinational company. It depends on the number of countries where you are present, not only in the number of countries, but also in the weight of your foreign activities. I am present in 140 countries, but 90% of my billing comes from Spain. Well, you are a multinational company, yeah, but not so multinational. Okay? So the number, the weight, and the relationship between these countries. If you are present in Spain, the United States, Australia, and Japan, you are more multinational than if you are in Spain, France, Portugal, and Italy. Because the last four belong to the European Union and in fact are Mediterranean, well, Portugal is not Mediterranean, but are Latin countries, okay? Latin countries, under the influence of languages derived from Old Latin. Well, I present you here a comparison. Nestlé, enormous, which is placed wherever in the world, operates in 194 countries, and it has got more than 339 workers at the company, okay? In fact, Nestlé has got more workers than some is lower than that. On the other hand, we have got Amaury Sports Organization. This is just the organizer of Tour de France, of Dakar Rally, also Volta España, and so on. And though they operate in different countries, they don't operate in all countries. And finally, we have got Mercadona, as I told you, which operates in Spain and Portugal. Are all of them multinational companies? Yes. Have all of them got the same degree of multinationality? Clearly not. Okay? Finally, I want to explain you which are the reasons for the internationalization of the company. Why does a company go abroad? Okay, so I'm showing you a slide about this. Well, forgot this, sorry. I'm explaining you the pros and the cons of being multinational. Which are the pros and which are the cons of being multinational? Well, on the pros, the firm can optimize the location of the activities. If you are just operating in one country, you are just located in one country. If you are operating in more than one country, you can decide to establish your plants in the different countries. For instance, this is something that Airbus does. Airbus has got different plants in different places. On the other hand, some resources and capabilities can be transferred from one place to another. If you have got knowledge in one country, you can try to use that knowledge in some other countries to move it abroad, okay? Also, a firm can add new resources and capabilities. If you go abroad, you can gain new resources and capabilities from the country where you are going to be present. You can learn from local sources. If you are just operating in your original country, you are not able to get that knowledge. Finally, the company can distribute its risks among the different countries. You can fail in one country, but still go on in some others. An example about this is, well, Repsol is a Spanish multinational company. The operations of Repsol in Argentina were expropriated by the Argentinian government some years ago. But so long as Repsol was not present just in Spain and Argentina, but in more countries, in fact, this failure didn't end up with the company. The company was able to survive that. If you are just present in one country, and that country has got a major failure or creates you a problem or whatever, okay, then the company will be severely damaged, if not prone to disappear. Finally, in the cons, obviously being global brings complications for the firm. I mean, the complexity of the management enlarges. This is not necessarily bad, but you need to develop more important management capacities. You need to deal with different cultures, you need to deal with different markets, and also you need to coordinate different production facilities, design a global human resources policy or not, and so on. Maybe you will bear additional risks, especially, well, you are sharing the risks, yeah, but when you are entering another country which is not your home country, at that moment, you are bearing new risks. There's going to be something that you ignore, okay? And designing a global strategy is more difficult than designing a strategy for one country. This is obvious. I mean, just operating in one country is easier to be managed, okay? Well, now let me explain finally what I was promising to tell you, which are the internal and external reasons for the internationalization of the firm. Internal reasons. Well, when we say internal reasons, we mean reasons which are related with the firm itself. Okay, so reasons related with the firm itself. First of all, cost reduction. I mean, why do you grow global? Well, sometimes in order to reduce your costs. Why do some firms produce their goods and services in some other countries, in some new countries, not their original countries, not their headquarter countries? Well, they move their production outside that country. They do what we are going to call later offshoring. Okay, they do so in order to reduce the cost sometimes. Okay, on the other hand, in order to achieve a minimum efficient size. What do I mean by a minimum efficient size? Well, imagine a company which is operating in a country with a small market. Let us say, for instance, Nokia in Finland. Okay, can you figure out that Nokia was just producing mobile phones for the Finnish population and that's all? Well, Nokia wouldn't have ever reached any kind of efficiency because the minimum production to be efficient in that kind of market is much bigger than the population of a country like Finland and like Italy or Spain, okay? So in some markets you need to be nearly global in order to be competitive and efficient. It depends on the industry. This is something we are going to deal with in the second part of the lesson, okay? Also, you can enter some other countries in order to look for resources. What do I mean by looking for resources? For instance, if you are a hotel chain and you want to have a hotel on the Spanish coast, you need to buy a hotel in Spain. You need to do it. You are forced to do it. The only way to be at the Spanish coast is to have a hotel on the Spanish coast. This is, for instance, one of the reasons why Minor bought NH Hotels, okay? Included it incorporated it in its group. Okay, Minor Hotels, which is a Thai firm, okay, they bought recently, more or less recently, NH Hotels in order to be more established in the Spanish market. Well, what else? Exploiting resources. Maybe some of the resources that the company has are not sufficiently exploited or can be exploited also in some of the countries. So maybe you have got some underexploited resources. For instance, Giovanni Rana started producing pasta and so on in Italy, but they discovered that this could be sold in some other countries. Now Giovanni Rana is very popular in Spain. Okay, and there are some companies which says, okay, no, I have got some success in my country, my production facilities are not full, or even if my production facilities are not full, are not completely overloaded, okay, I can open new production facilities abroad, but my brand is underexploited, so I can exploit it. Finally, do you remember what I told you about one of the pros? Yes, sometimes you go to some new countries in order to reduce your global risk, to share your risk, so that if there is a failure in one country, then the company is not going to crash. On the other hand, external reasons. Well, first of all, the product life cycle. Well, it is possible that a given industry in one country is declining or mature. I mean, the demand is not growing. But the same industry in some other country can be growing or even starting in the introductory stage. For instance, if you want to sell Spanish ham, more Spanish ham in Spain, is really difficult, but if you want to sell Spanish ham in the United States or in China or in Japan, the industry is not mature there yet. In fact, I think it's not even growing yet. I would say that it's in the introduction stage. Okay? Then, external demand. There can be unsatisfied external demand for the product you are offering. What do I mean by this? Well, what I told you about ham. Have you seen that tourists, whenever they come to Spain, they like ham? They taste it, they try it, they like it. Okay? Maybe there's a demand for that product in their home countries, so maybe some Spanish firms could try to sell this product abroad because there could be an unsatisfied demand for the product. What else? Competitive pressure. What I mean by this is that sometimes, and related with the previous situation, sometimes the competitive pressure in your home country is much higher than the competitive pressure abroad. So, for a company which is selling ham in Spain, it has got much more competitors in the local market here in Spain than if they try to sell in the United States. Well, obviously they need to open the market and they need the health authorities, regulations and so on to be accomplished and so on. But once they do that, they are not going to find many competitors in that country. Okay? Following customers, by that we mean that if our customers move a facility or open a facility abroad, normally we need to open a facility abroad to serve our customers. For instance, if a firm from the automotive industry, let us say Ford, let us say Volkswagen Group, whichever, okay, opens a new plant, opens a new facility, the main suppliers of all their systems, let us say Robert Bosch, let us say Faurecia, Recaro, or whichever, okay, they are normally going to open their own facilities close to the facility of their customer. Okay, so if the customer moves and opens a new factory, you as a supplier have sometimes to follow the customer. Finally, when the industry goes global, what do I mean by this? Well, sometimes it's not one competitor or another, it's the whole industry which becomes global. Some 40 years ago, I could tell you that when I was a child, the majority of fashion firms, in fact, were local. I mean, you couldn't easily access to clothes coming from different countries and so on. Now the fashion industry is clearly global, okay? So the firms are trying to operate in many different countries at the same time. It is the whole industry which has gone global, okay? So, well, we have finished this first part about the multinational company, which is more conceptual, and then we're going to enter the next one.